Hello everybody, and welcome to Bull Technology. It's no secret that I don't like Adobe, and over the years I have slowly weaned myself off of using their terrible products. From the outrageous subscription scheme, to the unbelievable levels of bloat, to the utter brokenness of their applications, I had just had enough, and am now happily content using Affinity Photo and Final Cut Pro. But recently, Adobe has once again been in the headlines for yet another egregious business practice, and I feel it is appropriate to make this video. So today we will enumerate all of the horrific corporate chicanery Adobe has pulled over the years and cover the recent controversy. And hopefully by the end of this video, Adobe's stock price will have dropped by a couple points. Let's get started. So let's start with some brief history. Adobe Incorporated was founded in 1982 in San Jose, California. Several years later, in 1987, Adobe would ship its first creative software product, Illustrator. And in the coming years, Adobe would develop or acquire Photoshop, After Effects, PageMaker, and Premiere. Adobe's dominance in the creative software industry paved the way for Adobe Creative Suite to release in 2003, which bundled various Adobe products for one combined price. I should note that Creative Suite and its successor, Creative Cloud, will be the main focus of this video, and we will not be discussing other Adobe products like Flash, though leave a comment if you'd like to see a video on Flash. Adobe Creative Suite would see several iterations over the years: Creative Suite 2 in 2005, Creative Suite 3 in 2007, Creative Suite 4 in 2008, Creative Suite 5 in 2010, and finally, Creative Suite 6 in 2011. It was during this time that Adobe introduced their decision to transition away from the Creative Suite to the Creative Cloud, or CC, essentially transitioning the product from a paid one-time local purchase to a monthly subscription service that utilized the cloud. In 2013, Creative Cloud officially became Adobe's flagship product when they canceled CS6, and ever since then, Adobe has continued to develop and sell Creative Cloud as their main creative software product. So with that brief history out of the way, I'm now going to demonstrate why Adobe is a disgusting and borderline criminal company. I've picked three reasons. The first is pricing and cost, the second is product ownership, or lack thereof, and the third is privacy and legal concerns. So let's begin with pricing and cost. Now, a lot of this complaint is related to my second complaint, which is about product ownership, but let's do some quick math. 2 decades ago, anyone could purchase Adobe Creative Suite or any specific applications for a set price. This here is my copy of Adobe Creative Suite 3 Design, and I used CS3 for over 10 years. Well, back in 2007, CS3 would have retailed for about $1,200. A hefty price, but consider the fact that you forever owned this copy of the product, and you could buy this product used several years later, as I did, for a massive discount. Let's compare this to Adobe today, and a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud costs $59.99 per month, and there aren't any options for used copies or sales. Doing some quick math, we can see that after only 2 years, you will have spent almost $1,500 to use their products. And if you've been using Creative Cloud since its launch in 2013, you would have spent about $8,000 over the last 11 years. Outrageous. It's clear that the switch from Creative Suite to Creative Cloud was purely a means for Adobe to nickel and dime their loyal customers and squeeze content creators for more cash. And of course, Adobe can get away with this because they have almost complete market dominance in the creative software space. As a matter of fact, the FTC intervened in an antitrust case back in the 1990s and banned Adobe from acquiring a competitor because the FTC alleged that Adobe was becoming a software monopoly. Likewise, in 2005, Adobe acquired Macromedia and discontinued a major competitor to one of their products, Illustrator, by killing off Macromedia's freehand program. And these are just a few examples, but Adobe has clearly engaged in many anti-competitive business practices, and their market dominance allows them to get away with this terrible behavior. But it should be noted that there are plenty of great competitors to Adobe in various of their product lines. So if we want the market to change, we must vote with our wallets and say no to Adobe and this business model of exorbitant prices and extortion. I, for one, use Affinity Photo in place of Photoshop and Final Cut Pro in place of Premiere, two programs with a one-time purchase price. Alright, so I think I've covered the pricing and cost angle pretty well, but what about my second complaint related to product ownership? Well, back in the day when you bought, the keyword is bought, a product, you outright owned it. Take my copy of CS3 as an example. I own this physical CD copy of the software as well as a product key. I could sell this to someone else, I could give this to someone else. It is just like every other product I own, from my Stanley Thermos to my Lego TARDIS. But now Adobe has turned their products into a service and not a product you can purchase. Why? Well, because they want to make more money, of course, but it certainly doesn't need to be a monthly service. And the cost of this switch is, obviously, it is more expensive, but also you don't own the software. They do, and you must abide by their terms of service and use the product as they wish. CS3, as an example, ran on every macOS iteration from macOS Leopard to macOS High Sierra, and on machines with Core 2 Duos to Hexacore Xeons. But with Creative Cloud, hey, you better be running macOS Big Sur or newer. Have an older but more powerful enough machine? Well, too bad. Want to loan your software to a friend so he or she can give it a try for free? Again, too bad. Ownership of your software is important, and Adobe doesn't want that. They want to keep you tethered to them at all times. What if Adobe decided to raise their monthly prices by, say, 20%? It's not like you can say no if you're working on an important project. It's an unhealthy dynamic, and we shouldn't stand for it. Speaking of Adobe wanting you to be tethered to them at all time, I think we should move on to privacy. Now, it's no secret that Adobe isn't exactly the name in security. I mean, in 2013, a security breach compromised the personal data, as well as credit cards, of almost 3 million customers. And there have been many other breaches of security over the years, like that time when 152 million usernames were leaked, or the time that Russian hackers obtained 200,000 social security numbers, or the time that their own source code was leaked. Yeah. But recently, a different kind of personal security and data protection question has been raised by Adobe users, and this pertains to Creative Cloud's terms of service. Because Creative Cloud is a subscription service and not a product you own, using the service requires that you agree to their terms of service. Along with the usual data collection, Adobe also recently updated their terms of service to say the following, quote, "We may access your content through both manual and automated methods, such as for content review." And this immediately led to speculation that Adobe would be training artificial intelligence with individual user-created work. What's incredibly sleazy, though, is Adobe did not give customers the option to decline this new terms of service and end their subscription. This was the window that users were greeted with for the new terms of service. Notice anything missing? How about the decline and download my work button? How about the cancel my subscription button? But oh no, we will allow you to do that only once you've accepted and once we've already gone through all your personal content. Nasty. Now, Adobe did publish a statement after the backlash, and I encourage all of you to read it, but they didn't deny that machine learning would be trained on user content. Instead, they attempted to muddy the waters by conflating machine learning with generative AI. Again, nasty. Wow, Adobe has some nerve. It's clear that their model is consolidate and extort. Not only will they rob you of ownership and charge you exorbitant amounts of money to use their products, but they'll also use you as guinea pigs for their AI experiments. Unbelievable. Or at least it would be if we lived in a world where this sort of behavior wasn't tolerated. Adobe isn't alone, but we need to hold companies like this to account. My suggestion is this: stop using Adobe's products and put yourself, your data, your ownership rights, and your wallet first. Adobe is disgusting, and we don't have to stand for it. Be sure to leave a like, a comment, and definitely subscribe. And thank you all for watching.